How much Bitcoin should you own to succeed? That's the topic for today's video. Make sure you watch the whole video today. I have a few different and interesting tabs I want to show you. We're going to break this down because we're going to start off talking about how and why Bitcoin might succeed. And then we're going to transition into, well, how much Bitcoin should I risk? How much Bitcoin should I own if I wanted to significantly affect my future? That's the video today. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily, where, of course, you subscribe for our daily videos on everything going on with Bitcoin, crypto, the whole market. So let's start off by talking about the value proposition that is Bitcoin. It's my belief, and this is also something we've seen. I mean, Bitcoin, it's been around for 10, almost 11 years, and we have seen that as the years go by, the trust for Bitcoin and the trust for Bitcoin's network is going to keep increasing. It's trending up, which means the demand for Bitcoin will keep increasing. And as you know, as demand increases, since Bitcoin has a hard fixed supply, only 21 million, the effect of an increased demand, it's going to inevitably mean that the price of Bitcoin will trend up as well over time. Bitcoin, it's a new revolutionary decentralized money. And that's the key word. Bitcoin is money. And money is all about trust. So every year that Bitcoin continues to live is another year where its trust is earned. And over time, more and more people are going to opt in to trust Bitcoin over their own fiat currency. So let's talk about why. I mean, the question is, why would anybody choose Bitcoin over the US dollar? That is inevitably what every single person is going to have to come to terms with, right? So let's talk about that. So a big reason for this, it's not the only reason, but a big reason for this as why people will continue to choose Bitcoin over the US dollar is because if you hold your wealth in the US dollar, your wealth is getting systematically stolen from you year after year through inflation. I want to show you a video. So if you've been subscribed to Altcoin Daily for a while, you know that my brother and I, we attended the Bitcoin Is conference in Los Angeles. This conference, it was and it still is. It was streamed free online. Anybody can watch it. It's 6 hours long. And I want to show you a couple of clips, a few minutes from this conference that I thought were very valuable. So after we watch this clip, then we're going to talk about how much Bitcoin should you own to make a difference. But first I want to play you this clip. So this is our friend Anthony Pomp explaining inflation and how over time inflation will steal your wealth, and this is something that Bitcoin fixes. By the way, let's give Anthony a free plug. If you like Anthony Pompliano, if you want to hear his current thoughts on the market on a regular basis, I'm going to leave a link to his newsletter in the description. Quality stuff. I just wanted to give him a free plug since I reference him so much. But let's watch this. We'll watch this, then we'll talk about how much Bitcoin you should own. He's going to talk about inflation and how Bitcoin fixes this.
I'm going to explain to you the secret of money. The secret of money is that half of America is having their wealth stolen from them. Think about that for a second. 50% of Americans are having their wealth stolen from them with a hidden tax. It is called inflation. Here's how it works. The government prints money. When they print that money, there's inflation. If you have one of two things happen, you are having your wealth stolen from you. If you do not have something called a wage-adjusted inflation contract, so take an hourly worker getting paid $10 an hour. If you continue to get paid $10 an hour year after year after year, you are tricked into believing you are getting paid the same amount of money, but it just seems like you can't get ahead. It's because every single thing around you is becoming more expensive, but you're getting paid $10 an hour. It's because of inflation. The wealthy have a inflation-adjusted wage contract. Literally, they get paid more every single year to mitigate inflation simply for going to work just like you, but you don't get that adjustment, and they do. That's strike one to having your wealth stolen from you. The second, over 50% of America cannot come up with $400 for an emergency payment. 50% of America cannot come up with $400 to make an emergency payment. They live paycheck to paycheck. They live in all cash. They own no real assets. That means that 100% of their wealth is held in cash, and every year that wealth gets devalued away. This is not in the developing world. This is right here in America. Over 50% of people are having their wealth systematically stolen from them through just inflation. Bitcoin obviously solves this. And the reason is, if you look at the legacy financial system in dollars, not only is inflation working against more than 50% of our population, also there is no transparency. Who here knows how the Federal Reserve and the US dollar works? Raise your hand. Bullshit. You know what they've told you. Who here knows every single transaction that's going to happen today in dollars? The government doesn't even know that. Who here knows how much money was printed today? Nobody knows. Who knows what the interest rate policy decision is next quarter or next year or 5 years from now? Nobody knows. With the alternative financial system that's being built, Bitcoin, it is the most transparent money that has ever been created. You know exactly how it works because you can go audit the code. You can go back to January 3rd, 2009 and see every single transaction that has ever occurred. You know exactly how much money is being printed today, 1,800 Bitcoin. You know the interest rate decisions for the next 100 plus years. Bitcoin is more transparent than any other money that has ever existed. This is so monumental because it takes away the two things that the wealthy use to keep the 50% at the bottom of America enslaved to debt and to the system. This is not theoretical. This is not some academic study. This is hard data that the IMF published in 1998 in a white paper that said inflation is the leading cause of wealth inequality in the world. Inflation is the leading cause of wealth inequality in the world. Since 2009, 2010, when we started to print money and we became addicted to quantitative easing, the wealth gap has widened. That is why you see the populism in America becoming so important and so prominent. People feel like they cannot get ahead. They cannot recover. They cannot figure out how to pay their bills. Bitcoin obviously solves this.
Before we finish the clip, now let's talk about how much Bitcoin you should own. So now that we understand why Bitcoin has value, now that we understand why Bitcoin might succeed, let's talk about this, and then we'll finish with the clip. So there was an analysis done recently, and it said if Bitcoin is to succeed, there will only be approximately 0.003 Bitcoin for every human on Earth. So if Bitcoin succeeds, if you own 0.003 Bitcoin, that's going to put you in the upper echelon of well-off people on Earth. And it seems pretty crazy, but the simple reality is, since there are only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be created, there are over 21 million millionaires on this Earth, let alone the over 7 billion people on this Earth. Most people will only be able to own a tiny fraction of one whole Bitcoin if they own anything. I mean, that's the reality. So let's answer the question, how much Bitcoin do I need to own? Well, one Bitcoin at the moment is trading just above $8,000. For 0.003 Bitcoin, it's going to cost you less than $25. So if you think that there's a 0.0 chance for Bitcoin to succeed, if that's what you think, then the answer is simple. Don't expose yourself. Don't take the risk. But if you think that a new system that's currently working, that's more transparent, it's permissionless, it's trustless, it's provably fair, it's undebasable, in essence, it's the system that provides so much more value to the people who use it. If you think there's even a 1% chance that something like this could succeed, then right now is the time to take a calculated risk. It's only going to cost you between $25,000 and $8,000, which might seem like either not a lot or might seem like a significant amount. But if you do that, you'd be taking the chance, and you'd be possibly setting yourself up to be greatly ahead of the pack in the future. For me personally, I think the only bad move is not owning any Bitcoin. because I think there is a greater than 1% chance that Bitcoin will succeed. So that's it for today's video. That's the takeaway for the video. I think just get some exposure. But I want to know what you think in the comments. So like the video, support the channel. And by the way, this is the perfect video to post on your wall or to send to a friend who wants to maybe get involved with Bitcoin, or somebody who's a little bit interested. Anyways, we're going to finish off today's video with Anthony Pompliano's final thoughts on why you need to get off zero exposure to Bitcoin. Get off zero. The link to his newsletter is in the description. All right, Altcoin Daily team, I will see you tomorrow.
Now, what I will say is, if there are two systems and you have 100% confidence that the legacy system is the best system and is the only system that will ever exist, you should keep 100% of your wealth in that system. But if there is any portion of your brain that thinks there is 0.5% chance, 1% chance, 5% chance, 50% chance that a new system could be built that's more transparent and actually more valuable to the people that use that system, you should not have 0% of your wealth in that system. Because if there's two systems and 100% of your wealth is in one system, you're betting on that system winning and the other one having a 0 probability of ever succeeding. Two systems, 100% on one, 0% on another. Everyone in this room is incredibly intelligent. That's not how odds work. If you could tell the future, then you wouldn't play the game. But everyone is playing this game of money and finance because we don't know the future. And so if you think that there is any percentage chance that the alternative system could possibly have value, could possibly persist, or could possibly actually disrupt the existing system, you have to get off zero. You have to not have 0% of your wealth exposed to that financial system. So you have a choice. There's the legacy system, and there's this new alternative system. The new alternative system is more transparent and actually works for people. It actually gets rid of the ability for the elite to steal the wealth of the poor. And it does it for the first time in history in the most peaceful protest we've ever seen. You do not have to do anything other than take your wealth and put it into the new financial system and sit back and watch what happens. We are watching a new financial system being built. Most of the people in this room who have gotten off zero have started to understand some of the systematic things that are actually hurting people in America, are causing the wealth inequality. If you have 100% of your wealth in one financial system, you should look at the probability and the odds that it will not be the financial system that is 100% dominant forever in the future. And therefore, you have to get off zero.